Welcome to Family Crisis Center. Uh, we are going to give you an overview of the organization and what we do. So, Family Crisis Center has been in the Farmington community for approximately 43 years. We have a counseling center, and then we have Marge's Place, and we'll tell you about both.
My name is Leela Holmes, and I'm here today to give you a brief background on the history of our domestic violence center here in Farmington called the Family Crisis Center, and to explain how it got started here in our town. And of course, it was back probably in the early 70s. Marge Atkinson and her idea on how we would get started is that if we found a situation where there was an abused person in the home, we would get them into one of our homes until you might say the emotions could die down a little, and then she had the idea that we'd try to get some professional help for these people during the times they were in our home. But then Marge came up with the idea that we would get a grant, get the city to help us, and we'd get a grant and we would try to purchase a building here. And I think that's probably about the time that we actually became a legal entity, which was in 1978. To give you some idea of how hard we had it to try to find a permanent home for the domestic violence center. When we first started, Marge knew some people that was over here by the church, and they allowed us to use a building that they had, and we were there for quite some time, but it wasn't a very large building, and we quite often couldn't take people and provide them a shelter because we didn't have enough room. And the city of Farmington provided us with the funds through this grant to purchase that building, and we were there then until we moved into our building here across the street. It's called Marge's Place.
I'm Opal Marie Cole. I'm the Executive Director of the Family Crisis Center. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the services we provide for the community. Services for victims, offenders, and children dealing with issues of domestic violence. That is our primary focus. So at the Counseling Center, we have counselors for children. We start services for children at age 5, and we go all the way up to the elderly. We have support groups for victims. We have a women who use force groups. We do also have a 52-week offender program. Our program is called HEAL, helping explore accountable lifestyles.
Hello, my name is Candace Eldan, LMSWMS. I'm the Family Crisis Center Domestic Violence Emergency Shelter Supervisor, or federally known as Marge's Place. We are a 14-bed facility and up to 46 beds at one time. We cater to domestic violence survivors, that's men, women, and children. Marge's Place has an outdoor playground, but because of COVID, our playroom is closed, but we do check out toys and well-being items for the clients. I have a full staff, including 2 full-time case managers that are here to assist the clients with their needs and whatever they're telling us they need to require on their service plans. We also offer a kennel for the survivors' pets as well.
We have served in the last year 272 victims. I should also say that is lower in terms of the numbers we normally serve. And I believe because of COVID this past year, we were impacted. Overall, we took 602 hotline calls this year. We don't have the current year's numbers, but 759 calls went into Farmington PD in 2018 related to domestic violence. And fortunately, this past year, we did not have any deaths related to DV. Overall, Family Crisis Center served 1,267 victims throughout all of our programs.
As a single man with no children, I was ashamed that domestic violence had taken place in my home. Domestic violence nearly led to my demise. Suddenly, I had become a statistic without hope or a future in sight. I did not want to remain in an environment that was not safe. I had to seek help and safety immediately. I ended up in a hotel to get away, but had no idea where to look for help. I felt there was no help for a person like me and felt like I hit rock bottom. After living in a hotel for a week, I knew I had to find help that would provide shelter, food, clothing, and safety. I searched the internet for help and found the Family Crisis Center website. I quickly dialed the crisis helpline, hoping they could help. Before I knew it, there was hope and a place to go to escape my trauma. The first 2 weeks at the shelter were not easy. The trauma of the horrific event that changed my life continued to replay over and over in my head. As time passed, I knew I was in a safe place surrounded by people who wanted to help me. The Family Crisis Center provided me with food, clothing, shelter, and safety. Staying at the shelter for 90 days, I regained all my confidence I lost because of domestic violence. The Family Crisis staff have empowered me to put my health first, helped me become a student at San Juan College, and regain my confidence and independence. If it weren't for the Family Crisis Center, I am not sure where I would be.
Hi, I'm Addie Betancourt, board member for the Family Crisis Center of Farmington, New Mexico. We also want to thank the United Way for being such a strong and valued partner with us for over 30 years. And we truly need the support of the United Way, not just for our program, but for several other programs in the community where it's valued and extremely important. And we're able to use the United Way funds in ways that we're not able to use government funding or federal funding. Some of the grants that we get also have stringent requirements on them. So the United Way funds are flexible for us to use as needed. We also get to do a few fun things with that funding for the families and the services that we provide. And we do, again, want to thank the community for always contributing and for the United Way for being such a valuable partner.